Aloha, mamas, and welcome back to the Mama Mindset Podcast, episode number 6, the sixth time we get to sit down and chat and be together and let our thoughts roll and honor all everything that's going on. I thought today would be a great time to start with an intention. And for me, the intention I have in coming here today, again, as always, unscripted and unedited without any agenda here, except one, magenda, the mom agenda of leaning into our glorious authenticity and the genuine connection that we desire with one another, and clothing ourselves in full vulnerability. Vulnerability is our path forward. It is. My intention in coming today is gratitude, to just illuminate and express and bask in the gratitude that I have that you're here choosing yourself, and that we get to and choose to approach every single interaction with gratitude. We have the choice to nourish ourselves from the moment we open our eyes in the morning to most likely a very busy morning in life with people depending on us and all of the events that transpire throughout the day until the nighttime. And those bookends of the day and what we wrote in our story that day gets to be nourishing. We get to set an intention and we can reset it and come back to it along the way. I mean, for example, tell me, mamas, like, what is your Costco mantra? We have one Costco on island here on Maui, and it's a way of life. Like 100% Costco is a way of life. I am all about Costco. And if you come here to Maui, you will go to the beach and it's evident like that people went to Costco, because the Tommy Bahama chairs on the beach are from Costco. The Tommy Bahama umbrellas on the beach are from Costco. The wave storms, which are these kind of foam boards that are really fun to surf on because you catch all the waves and they're soft, are from Costco. The slippers, which is AKA flip-flops here in Hawaii, that people are wearing are from Costco. The sarongs that the moms are wearing, the cute little, I wore them all through my Hawaii pregnancy seasons and still do, are from Costco. The kids' rash guards are from Costco. The snacks, the seaweed that everybody's munching on, the mangoes, the fruit, the drinks, the coolers, like it's from the towels, literally Costco. And when you go to Costco, you see people that came on vacation, holiday, whatever, here, they got their snorkel gear from Costco and they're about to board back on their plane because our airport is pretty close and they're returning their snorkel gear. I find it fascinating. And so anyway, needless to say, Costco as a way of life here, it's busy. And we get our gas from Costco too. And the parking lot's super busy. So I even try to pick times to go. And I mean, I love it. I feel like I get to go to Costco. I get to pick nourishing things for myself and my family. I get to receive the bill, like the receipt, when it comes out after all of the items that I got have been scanned. And I get to say that I invested in my health and nourishment and that of my family that day. And I've just completely changed the whole script on, oh my gosh, how much are we spending today? To I'm investing in our health and like the culinary goddess that is growing within me in the kitchen at our house. Anyway, so tell me what your grocery store, if you go to Costco or some other grocery store where you live, or market or supermarket around the world, what is your mantra? Because we all set an intention, whether or not we realize it before we go in. Mine is this lately, just this act of gratitude where I get to navigate the busy parking lot and find a spot. I have my favorite little row. Like I will wait for a spot to open up there because it's just next to the grass and it's more open and I feel like I can breathe and I'm not going to back in until, when I back out, there's probably not 50 other cars backing out. And I just like walking out with my 2 children and my cart to that area. And I'm all about that last row in Costco. And I am grateful for the experience and all of the colors and sounds and smells that are going to bombard me. I don't know where you live, but I know that the pandemic we're probably one of the last states, but we're about to lift our mask mandate here coming up. And the samples are starting to come back on in Costco, which for me is like a good vital sign that we're coming out of some stuff. So I think that's a good vital sign of community. And yeah, so my intention is just one of gratitude that I get to shop and I get to have fun. And last time I didn't even look at my list. I just went around my little parade that I go on in Costco, because we all have like a little system probably, right? Like we all have a way that we triage ourselves through the store, and which way we circle and not. Like I go through and get like hit up the meat section and then the frozens and make my way around to the dry goods and then out. But a lot of Costco's have different flows, right? And when you go to different one, you're like, where is the dog food? I don't know. So that's just one example I think we can a lot relate to. Even it could be when you first wake up in the morning and there's already people asking you like, what are we eating for breakfast? And you're wondering if you should check your phone and you haven't even peed yet. And like, did you take your vitamins or whatever you take in the morning? You don't even know. Did you even take them last night? Where are your glasses? Like, these are the things that happen to me when I wake up. And like, I'm going to take my night guard out because I grind my teeth at night. And yeah, so this is the things that are happening to me in the early moments. And I get to pause in that moment and set an intention that is, I get to live another day in this colorful chaos with my people, these amazing human beings that are going to show me so many things today. And I get to lean into my curiosity and fascination. And I get to choose fascination over force. That's been a big one coming up for me, like a big divine download lately that I want to offer here is, what if we never did anything by force again, forcing ourselves to learn something, forcing ourselves to have a certain posture, forcing ourselves to convince someone of something, or that we're worthy. What if we dropped all of that forced energy? I think that comes from a masculine energy that we're trying to emulate. We're trying to live within those parameters. And again, I think masculine energy is strong and powerful in its own right, and, has its place. I think though that we at times in our lives have deviated from validating that feminine energy has an inherent strength. It has a relational purpose. It has a reverence in the way that we treat ourselves and the way we interact with other people. And we are strong in that strength. And from a feminine energetic place and vibration, we choose fascination with our life, with everything that's going on around us. And we can choose in that way to kind of be an observer of ourselves. I think that's a super powerful aspect and superpower really of the intuition, of the mama tuition, of the female energy, that we can choose to be observers in times where it's getting overwhelming. There are 20 cars, like car sharking apart parking lot spot at Costco, wherever you're going, or your morning is starting out super, what you perceive hectic, and you're choosing to go into the rush because you need to get lunches packed and your children off to their days, whatever it is, right? What if you instead chose fascination that there's so much life happening around you, and that you have healthy children that are going to school that day and they're really excited, and they get to go to school now, right? Remember, not so long ago, we were all at home and we weren't having those privileges as much. And you get to be fascinated that there's just so much, there's a pace, and you can even find humor in it. And it just allows you to drop into this place of reverence and of gratitude. Because when you're existing in gratitude, it's impossible for you to feel bitter and sorry for yourself and like the victim of things. Like, it's the antithesis of that. I'm firmly convinced that existing in gratitude and grounding yourself in gratitude gives you that opportunity to soar. It is that setting that intention moment. It's kind of why people talk about, you don't have time not to meditate. Maybe you've heard some version of that before. And you're kind of like, okay, but I'm not going to sit for 20 minutes and like just be there. And truly, honestly, meditation is incredible. And whatever form speaks to you. I don't think personally that it has to be one way, right? I feel, again, that's a force, and that for me goes against flow and fascination and fun, and that we get to have fun in this life. So I would offer that meditation can be anything which again connects you with the vertical alignment of yourself and takes you out of this horizontal scan that you're always doing, scanning to make sure, that you're doing everything right, or that all of the needs are met, and all of the hustle and the grit that we feel, the rat race that we sometimes run. And meditation is a way that takes you into that role of the observer, to a peaceful place where you ask yourself, what do I need right now? How can I nourish myself right now? What intention can I set for this moment? As I open my eyes, as I begin my day, what feels most reverent? Maybe it's putting my phone down, and not checking it for 30 minutes. And I'm going to drink a glass of water and brush my teeth and take a warm shower, do something that nourishes me this morning. And so along that same vein, I think meditation can be, sitting for 20 minutes and emptying your mind, and then allowing thoughts to come up organically as they do, and acknowledging them as they come up, and then allowing them to float away. It could also be a walk outside, connecting with nature and whatever weather is going on outside the windows of your house, just to be outside. It could be, so a lot of people moving meditation in that kinesthetic sense, and that connection to movement, and that reverence of connecting with your body, and the fact that your heart is pumping extra blood to accommodate the exercise you're doing, and your lungs are exchanging oxygen in a more efficient way. And I can go on with the fascinating science nerd side of me that I love and claim so much now. It could be doing a progressive muscle relaxation, which is a guided journey through, it's almost like a mental massage in my mind. I love doing them. So like a body scan where somebody will, been doing them on the Peloton app, because I have the Peloton, but you can find these on YouTube too, take you through a relaxing journey where you're laying down, sitting up, whatever feels reverent and right to you in that moment. And you acknowledge and systematically relax, basically from the scalp of your head and face all the way down to your toes. And it's extremely effective because you're focusing on different areas, and you're scanning and taking inventory of your own body. You're claiming that psychological connection, that psychosocial and psychosomatic sense that you have with yourself, and just connecting. Because a lot of times we get out of alignment with how our body's feeling, because we're forcing, right? We're in the force, and we're just like, no body, you don't get to be tired right now. Like, you don't get to be this or that. What if you did get to be? What if you always got to be in alignment with yourself and how you're feeling and how you're doing? Meditation could also be yoga, because that's, for me, just a very transforming journey through movement and exploring how your body's doing and where you're holding tension, and how you can push new boundaries and be an observer of your body and of your thoughts and of your feelings and what comes up. It could also be a guided imagery, which is also, for me, very transcendent. And I've done some amazing ones with close friends, where you are guided through a different visual, and they could appeal to other senses too, but often it's a visual scene. It could be a beach, it could be a walk in a forest, it could be through a meadow. And there are questions that come up through that. And kind of like, do you remember those choose your own ending books when you were younger? I loved those. And I also would go back and choose all the other endings and see what happened. And I actually still do that whenever I take a quiz. I'm so curious. I want to see what the other paths take you to. But in this guided imagery, you are guided, and then you're led by your future self, or your inner knowing, your inner compass, that mama tuition, and you surrender to that peaceful, powerful observer within. You're intentionally spending time with her, and it's super powerful to see what comes up, what you feel, where you might be going, and what kind of crumbs and trails it leads you toward. For me, all of those are effective ways of meditation, and I employ and utilize all of those at different times. And it feels like going to a mental spa, and that's something we can do for ourselves at any moment. You could be in the carpool line and just do a 5-minute meditation with your eyes open. Who says they always have to be closed? Like, for me, even from a young girl, I was like, didn't feel like I had to pray with my eyes closed looking down. Like I wanted to look up and feel aligned and looking at nature around me. And I think that however feels most reverent and vibrant to you is your flavor of being a mama, of being a woman, of being a visionary. And that is so powerful. So I think intention has become this buzzword, like setting an intention. What's your intention today? And oftentimes we're like, I don't know. I don't have an intention. Do I have to have an intention? Like, why is everyone asking me to have an intention? And we kind of go into like defensive panic mode. But what if it was a nurturing, nourishing, observing role that you got fascinated about? What if you challenged yourself to drop into that artist, that beautiful artistic brilliance that is absolutely shining within you and waiting to be unleashed into the world? And that's a lot what Mama Mindset's about, is leaning into that brilliance and that feminine energy. And what if you chose to dance in your flow of your fascination, of being fascinated with life as it's where you're at this place in life, how you're cultivating this increased awareness around a lot of the things we've already talked about, how you're learning to speak life and love over yourself with I choose to, I get to, how you're claiming that you do judge and you're cultivating awareness around that, and you're having humor around that, how you're placing protective boundaries over yourself and in a sexy way, and you are practicing radical compassion on yourself. And what if you operated from a place of fascination? How fun does that get to be? How fascinating. You're always learning. You're always curious. You're connected to that inner child in you that was curious and asked a lot of questions, and you're connecting to that future self that's guiding you on and that's calling you toward your greatness and out of the grind, out of the mundane kind of survival mode that you might have prescribed to for many years or thought that you needed to align with societally. And that was you looking horizontally and wanting acceptance and validation. And that's also part of the feminine energy. We want to be valued. We want to be loved. And I think we mistakenly try to plug into horizontal outlets to get that. And Mama Mindset's about realizing and coming into that inner knowing that you already know you are not finding that love, that validation, that peace from the overwhelm you feel in life from horizontal sources. You're feeling it from a vertical alignment with yourself, with your spiritual side. And that comes from intention setting and nourishing and choosing to be in fascination with your life, with everything that's going on right now. It's fascinating to see what if then statements you are dropping upon yourself all the time. We talked about that in a previous episode as well. If then something like, if only we could buy this house, then I will be happy because it will have bedrooms for everyone, or it's more square footage, or it has like a brand new kitchen, or if only we could upgrade our kitchen countertops, then I could bake like great meals because I'd have more space to prepare stuff. If only I could increase my Zillow search parameter because then I would be able to find better properties. If only I could lose that last 15 pounds before that in the weight that I was pre-pregnancy or in college, then I'll be happy and have met my goals. And the inherent problem with these if then statements is they're not true. And they leave us hanging at an ending that we have invented and perceived and concocted to be the magic ingredient for our everlasting peace and happiness and health and prosperity. And we're hanging our hat on this statement, this little donut that we're holding out in front of ourselves. It looks good. It has like the glaze, icing, frosting. It might be pink, it might be chocolate, and it has like sprinkles, and it looks really, really good. But just like a box of donuts, when we eat it and indulge in it, it's not wrong or bad, but it's not sustaining. It doesn't last. It doesn't deliver. And what does deliver every single time and will continue to enhance your power and your peace and your conviction that you are a magnificent magnetic being and you are called to greatness and you are divinely chosen and you are a spiritual goddess of amazingness, is your choice to exist in fascination with yourself and where you've been, where you are now, where you're going, your babies that are around you, the relationships in your life, the intimate relationships in your life, the friendships that you're choosing. So the location of your life, the relationships, and how you're doing. Be in fascination. It is, for me, been so powerful to be that observer and to take myself out of consciously and by a decision, a choice. We get a choice. I love that. Choosing is so powerful. And I want us all to drop into that too. I'm choosing to do this. I'm choosing to work out. I get to work out. I'm choosing to go to Costco. I get to go to Costco. I mean, like it changes the whole narrative. It changes the whole energetic vibe. I was super excited about something, and then I got off into my Costco tangent again. But it will come back to me. I don't fear those now. I'm not like, oh, I lost my place. Like, I think that tangents are just meant to be. You just ride it, you go with it, you follow it, and then it'll circle back around. I mean, how often are we in conversation with each other? Kind of this mom Tourette's conversation where we say something and then someone yells at us or asks us for something, and where our attention is diverted, or we may be at the pool or a place where we need to be watching. And then we kind of reconnect with that other mom that we're speaking with, and kind of like, what were we saying? And then we all dance around what we were trying to talk about, and we may land back on it. We may land somewhere else, and it's totally fine. It's fascinating. It gets to be fun. What if you lived into that observer role? What would happen? For me, I know it's been so powerful to choose that reverence of observing how I'm approaching my day, how I'm existing into moments, what choices I'm making to be super busy and like feel really powerful and like accomplished in all the busyness and the to-do list, or if I'm choosing to be reverent and, do the puzzle with my daughter and play outside on the swings with my son and chase them. Like, they're really into chase me or hide and seek. And it's easy for us to opt out of those activities. And sometimes it might be necessary, or we choose to do that, but it's a choosing to do that. Not like, oh, I should be making dinner, so I can't really do that because I should be making dinner. Again, for me, shoulding on ourselves is so, just like the if then statements, it's very low vibe. It's really disempowering. And it's just like, it doesn't feel great. And so what if a nourishing, meditative, fascinating way was choosing? I choose to play tag and hide and seek with you guys right now. Let's do it. Let's run. Let's chase. And it's so fun to be in those moments. I live for those moments, those little moments that light up their world and that light up mine and help us illustrate the reason that we are in this chapter, the reason that we are artists and women and visionaries, is we get to drop into this divine feminine energy that has been endowed within every single cell of our DNA. And it is boss lady, domestic diva awesomeness. Like, we sit in boardrooms, we create masterpieces in our homes. We are the work that we are doing. Work is a word that I don't choose to use often, but the work, the artwork that we're doing in the corporate setting and in the home is incredible. And choosing the fascinating, for me, eliminating that working mom, stay-at-home mom, we are all part of this global tribe of females that are up-leveling ourselves and choosing that the divine downloads we've been given and the dreams that have been divinely dropped into us are there for a reason. And we're reevaluating and reconnecting to everything that is beautiful and intrinsic and joyful and brilliant within us. And that comes from choosing fascination, choosing to get curious. And that's something that you're naturally gifted at doing. We've just maybe muted it or allowed masculine energy to kind of, we've tried that on for so many years that we got to peel off some of those layers. But one way that we can drop into it is setting intentions throughout the day, that you can invite yourself into this energy and you can offer this up-leveling vibe to yourself, is choosing fascination. See how it feels. Try it on. It's like getting to play dress up with yourself all the time. And it's really fun because it changes your frame of mind and it changes your energy. And you are probably more likely to jump into those moments, those fun moments. You're going to take picture in your bathing suit instead of judging yourself around like what you'll look like. And you're going to let those camera roll moments. Maybe you don't even take any at the beach because you're just having so much fun being in the moment. But if you do, you're not doing it based on how you want to set it up for what you think would be a cool, like Instagrammable photo. You're just in it. And the more in it you are and observing yourself being in it, the more fun you're going to have. And the more fun you're having, the more faith you have in yourself and the more radical compassion you're going to practice upon yourself. And it transforms everyday mundane things like going to get the groceries or the mail into magical moments. You know, we all had to get creative and innovative during the pandemic where, you know, we were traveling like the far distances of our driveways in our yards. And we now know like every corner of our house very well. And that's a gift too, right? That gets to be fascinating. We get to choose that we persevere through that. And we found ways to connect. And I hope we don't go back to the way things were before. That was a portal. It was an invitation for us to treasure, to cherish human interactions and bonds and also placing parameters and valuable boundaries around our time and our social commitments in a way that honors us, in a way that we get to enjoy this short and fleeting chapter of motherhood when our babies are little or they're middle-aged or we're always mamas, we're always postpartum and we're evolving with them or we're growing with them. And this isn't a time where we are sitting back on the sidelines and maybe going along with the narrative where we're all about our babies and our children thriving. So we're going to negate ourselves and our needs for the time being because we're going to put all our energy into their prosperity. And while I think that comes from a place of love, it is not reverent to us. And it ultimately doesn't allow us to show up as the best version of ourselves and to cultivate the intimacy that we so desire with our children and to show our most patient, fun, fascinating, playful sides. That comes from us being intentional with ourselves, speaking our own love languages into our lives and noticing from an observer role what we need and communicating those needs clearly, with clarity and with confidence, and persevering and pursuing the dreams that we have and the gifts that we are naturally have been given and showing those out into the world with full vulnerability. I'm sitting here after a lot of deliberation that went into this podcast and limiting beliefs that I have mentioned before in this invisible purse that I carried around with these limiting beliefs. What if it isn't well received? What if it fails? All of these arbitrary limiting beliefs that weren't true. And when I finally articulated them out loud, they lost all their power. And I realized I get to come on here and talk to myself. It's like a visual journal diary almost, where what I envisioned was coming on and having these soul-filling life chats of divine downloads that I have been given, and I'm living this alongside you. I'm riding the struggle bus with you. I'm driving the struggle bus sometimes, and like we're still figuring out where we're going, but we're doing it with reverence and we're doing it with fascination. And we're having fun. We're laughing, we're dancing, we're in flow, and we no longer minimize or mute ourselves, our voices, our passions, our desires. We don't choose to have surface conversations that aren't ultimately fulfilling. And we're doing that from a place of reverence because we're willing to sit with our emotions as teachers. We're willing to set intentions in the moments that cause us the most stress throughout our day. We're willing to pivot from a place of overwhelm to peace. And that comes with our vertical alignment. It gets to be fun. And the vulnerability that we're willing to get dressed in every single day and shine out is an invitation for other mamas, other women to come into their own as well. It's extremely healing, and it will, and kind of like Mombasters I talked about, I think in the second episode, that it's that same concept where the healing power of feminine women, feminine energy, feminine women, of course we're feminine, but that healing power of our nurturing, our affection, our validation with words, our physical touch, our acts of service, our giving, all of the ways that we can speak love languages into our children's lives and our partners' lives. Those are instruments that the world needs to heal and to choose to move forward in a way that is, the trajectory is pointed toward prosperity for humanity and connection and genuine compassion for one another, and choosing to acknowledge and celebrate our differences, but hold sacred the truths which bind us together. And that comes from you, from me, living into our authentic selves in vulnerability, with intention, with fascination. We are the glue that holds our families together, and collectively we are a mama community around the globe that invites and offers an artistic and fun, fascinating way forward. I can feel it. I can feel that energetic vibe growing, and it's what led me to that growing conviction to start Mama Mindset. And it has transformed the trajectory of my life, getting to show up in this capacity. So I am so grateful. That intention I started in the beginning. So grateful to you for your time, for your choice to invest in yourself and to get curious about how you can up level, about how you can heal from past wounds and current things that are going on in your life, and how that's all possible with your vertical alignment, with choosing yourself, with reverence, with a fascination. And in that place of fascination, fear doesn't exist, because we get fascinated by the anxieties and the different emotions that come to us, and we turn them over and we look at them and we do like an archaeological dig or whatever we need to do to uncover what they're there to teach us. So it's a place of safety and emotional neutrality, and it is there for you. And it is an invitation that you can choose at any time. It can be restless in there. It can be uncomfortable. It can be the struggle bus, but you are never alone. We are always in community, and you were created to connect with others. That is also a huge component of your feminine energy, is that desire to create community that is meaningful, that is uplifting, that challenges you, some people that know you. And you do that for other people. You do. And sometimes we long for other people to do that for ourselves or for us. And it's fascinating because we sometimes write manuals for how we feel that other people in our lives should be treating us. And they don't ever read those manuals because they didn't get that textbook and they weren't created the exact same way that we were. So it's fascinating that we have these expectations we place on other people about how they should behave this way. We're all holding up our little should umbrellas when we go and hang out in these circles. And what if we were just reverent to how we were feeling and we articulated it with clarity? And we're fascinated to see how the words landed. You validated yourself. In these choices, we are modeling for our children to advocate for themselves, to learn that their emotions are their teachers, to be authentic and transparent with how they're doing. And you're inviting them into this divine dialogue with themselves, and that you're a safe space, so that as they continue to grow, and when they're teenagers and young adults and beyond, they're going to have these conversations with you, and you get to be a part of those moments. And that is so special and so sacred. And it's connected to that energy when you first delivered that human being into the world. And I watched you, or whatever medical professionals or people were surrounding you at that time, and watched you in all of your glory and all of your magnetism and all of your power come into alignment with that within you. And you held that life, and you treasured all of the milestones and the small moments that you were in, running around, playing chase and hide and seek. And you get to be part of those. You get to choose it. You get to be fascinated, and you get to involve them in picking things out at Costco and helping you make whatever dinner you're doing. You get to be inconvenienced by the little voices. It's not an inconvenience, it's an invitation. What if it wasn't an inconvenience? What if it was all an invitation? And something I said in the affirmations episode that was the previous one, number 5, really has been resonating with me. And it was something I heard recently. Your body is not an ornament, it's an instrument. Your body is not an ornament, it's an instrument. You are an instrument of divine good. You are here in Mama Mindset, listening to this on this earth, within your family, whatever work culture or community you may be a part of, as an instrument for so much massive growth and pivoting and offering a new way of being to people. You are a human being before you're a human doing. So when you kind of surrender to all that is sacred within you and you sit with that with meditative intentions, what's coming up for you is so important to harmonize with. So as an instrument, we often think of musicality when we think of, or for me, instrument, we're all moved by music. I can be moved by music I love listening to instrumental music and just seeing where it takes me, like what animals or scenes I picture, or like what beats are dropping, and just super connected with music. And I think we were all created to be really connected with music. And so perhaps that word instrument, you are created to be heard and to be, not to be played, but to play your music, your own tune. You are created to harmonize with your own orchestra, the beautiful symphony that's going on in your body of mind, body, and spirit, and all of your organs working for you. And the way that your heart shows up for you every single day and beats, and your lungs show up with you for you. And the way that your digestive system is marinating all the nourishment you're choosing to give yourself. Everything is showing up for you. You're held by this earth, and you get to play this instrument. You get to tune it, and you get to harmonize with what's going on around you or not. And when we choose to harmonize, when you choose to be an instrument of good for yourself and for those around you, you're choosing vertical alignment. You're choosing a mama mindset. You're choosing the intuition that is your divine birthright. Or sometimes it's not wrong, but it's important to observe when we drop into more of a victim role. I'm so overwhelmed in motherhood, like I'm just surviving, or, I can't believe all this is happening. I should be doing this. I need to, it's, all of that we've all been there. That's more of an ornament. We're getting dressed for other people. We are worried about perceptions of other people. Like, what if you just dressed for yourself because you loved it? What if you just love that after white Labor Day dress, just wear it. Like, I love dressing that way. I dress for myself for fun. And if you're not a decoration, you are an instrument. So ornaments are fun, like they go on the Christmas tree, but they're really only fun when they hold meaning, like sacred significance, to remind us of someone who gave it to us, or a place that we got it, a memory that we made. That's why people love ornaments on a Christmas tree. If that's the connotation that comes into your mind with ornaments, it's all about connection. And an ornament, just, I think the way that I'm using the word ornament, purely for decoration and purely to be looked at and kind of one-dimensional, it was never meant to be you. You are so many dimensionals. I don't even want to assign it a number. You're so many dimensions. And you're still experiencing and discovering those dimensions. And that gets to be fascinating, however old we are, to come into alignment with that inner child, who we are and who our future dreamer is, and where she's guiding us. And so you get to be an instrument. You choose to be an instrument. How fascinating is that? What music are you going to play? What kind of sounds are you going to make in this world? How are you going to have your voice be heard? I'm so excited to hear your voice, to listen to your instrument, to tune into you and where you're going. and what kind of fascinating downloads have come to you when you've dropped into that divine feminine energy, which is in you. So thank you for tuning into the instrument that you've allowed me to be today, and the instrument that you are hearing louder and with more clarity every single day and moment of day that you choose to tune into that within you. When you surrender to the stillness and the silence within, and to all of the beauty, all of the creativity, all of the artistry that is jam-packed into your beautiful, beautiful soul. I have so much love for you. Much aloha. And until next time, you can find me at mamamindset.com, or you can email me your divine downloads, your fascinating thoughts that have come up at aloha@mamamindset.com. Aloha mamas.